backdrop, pay attention to the fringe. When the fringe is hateful and dangerous and spiteful, and we say, you know what, let's not pay attention. Let's just pretend they're not there. And cameras stay away, and journalists don't tell us weekend in his moment.
Well, that's because during terrorism, both sides aren't responsible. It's usually just the terrorist.
Well, in this case, it was just the terrorist, Jesse.
Right. Well, no, in this case, it was two sides.
No, Jesse, I don't know where you get this false equivalence, but it was not.
Both sides were fighting each other. I'm not saying the Nazis didn't start the rally and they didn't bring clubs. The other side brought clubs, too.
No, we got torches and clubs.
We're arguing the same point from the A block when we have to move into the C block. The media spent the weekend blaming President Trump for the attack and vilified him over his initial response to the racist protest. Was the criticism fair? We'll debate that point again.
Fox News Radio, I'm Paul Stevens. All that tough talk against North Korea may have worked. State TV saying the rogue regime is postponing a threat to fire missiles toward the U.S. territory of Guam.
The report suggesting Kim has decided to hold off on executing any order, saying that he'll keep an eye on the foolish and stupid conduct of the Americans and may launch the strike at a later date. The language typically hostile, but it is being seen as a possible path to de-escalating the crisis.
Fox's Simon Owen in London. In the wake of the weekend violence in Virginia, protesters in Durham, North Carolina, topple a Confederate statue.
A statue of a Confederate soldier was standing outside a former courthouse building for nearly 100 years. Activists managed to tie a rope around the neck and pull it down. Some people were even seen kicking the monument as onlookers cheered.
Fox's Kelly Wright. Fox News. We report. You decide.
I'm a student.
I'm a professional.
I'm a woman.
And I shouldn't have to worry about walking alone, day or night.
I've heard it all.
Honey, give me a smile.
Harmless catcalls? I never know. I carry Tiger Lady. It's a revolutionary defense tool that's based on one of nature's most efficient defenses, a cat's retractable claws. It weighs less than my phone and is designed to collect DNA. Old-fashioned defense products are heavy, need batteries, or can backfire on me. Tiger Lady is discreet and fits in my hand. And when I make a fist, claws come out like a real-life Wolverine. It's easy to use, doesn't require training, and is legal in all 50 states.
Whether I'm out for a run or making my way around campus, I come prepared with my Tiger Lady.
3 million men and 19 million women have experienced at least one incident of sexual assault. Be aware and be prepared.
For a limited time, go to TigerLady.com and get the family 4-pack at a savings of over 15% off. Use the offer code SAFETY and save an additional 15% off. Find your fear. Set Tiger Lady.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Take this time to breathe deeply and close your eyes. Right now, you're completely in control. Unlike the time you and your son played basketball and you attempted to slam dunk. Or when you tried removing those raccoons from the basement. Concentrate on the soothing sound of my voice. Release the memory of when you wrestled with that beehive in your son's treehouse. Let go of the time you thought that skunk was a cat, or when you pulled into the garage with your son's bike on top of the car. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Now, from the historical audio archives of Fox News Talk.
Legendary tennis champion Arthur Ashe was the first African-American player to compete professionally in tennis. In leading UCLA to the NCAA title in 1965, he created a tennis program for inner cities in 1968 and was the U.S. LTA amateur champ and won the first U.S. Open at Forest Hills, being ranked co-number 1 with Rod Laver in that year.
This is still one of the Grand Slam titles, and now Muscles is the only player who win the Grand Slam this year. After a day of rest yesterday, he was pretty tough today, and I look forward to playing him again because for this year we're all square. I think I beat him about a month and a half ago in Detroit under poor lights. So here's hoping we meet in the final of Forest Hills on my turf. So I'll see you in September.
Stay tuned to hear more history as it unfolds before your ears. It's the audio archives of Fox News Talk.
Back now to the domestic terror attack in Charlottesville. That's how the Trump administration referred to it today. The president took a lot of heat over the last 48 hours for his initial response to the racially motivated violence, particularly from some folks in the media.
Failing to call out clearly the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan members who instigated this violence is a major, major misstep.
It's not only the man, it's not only the movement, but anybody that points their fingers at Mexicans and Muslims shares responsibility.
Well, the president has to share responsibility. The fact is that through that campaign, he blew all kinds of whistles that those of us who grew up in the Jim Crow South, like I did, recognized immediately. It was just calling out to these white supremacists who then felt empowered by it.
You could make the case that Saturday was the worst day of the Trump presidency.
The media heard from Mr. Trump today, and tonight he tweeted, quote, made additional remarks on Charlottesville and realized once again that the fake news media will never be satisfied. Truly bad people, end quote. What do you think, Kimberly?
Look, I think that he's frustrated because he knows in his heart who he is, what he stands for, and how he really wanted to focus on the economy and the working men and women across this country that he felt were left behind. He feels personally probably, dismayed and hurt that people would think that this was something that was, in his heart or that he wouldn't condemn. So basically, this just comes down to communication and making sure that when something like this happens, and you're the President of the United States, that you and your team immediately get out there and do the right thing. I thought what he had to say today was outstanding and important, and people wanted to hear that. The whole quarrel is with the timing of it.
Well, obviously, you had people in the Republican Party, Jesse, Senator McCain, Senator Sass, Jeff Flake, even Orrin Hatch, Cory Gardner, Ted Cruz, who said, what he said Saturday, just inadequate.
Yeah, a lot of Republicans disagreed with the president's handling of the situation, and they can do what they want, and the president can do what they want, but the president's probably going to take a little bit of a PR hit for the short term with this, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. Look, the media spent a year calling President Trump a Nazi. So then a Nazi commits a murder, the media tries to make Trump the accessory for the murder. It's just not fair. Also, if you have hundreds of thousands of radical Islamic terrorists that apparently have nothing to do with Islam, according to the left, then how does one kook racist have anything to do with Donald Trump? The media begged Donald Trump to name names. He did. And then they said, oh, well, he read it off a teleprompter. Oh, he didn't take questions. Oh, he bragged about the economy. I mean, in a way, the guy can't win. He's going to be blamed for everything. He got blamed for transsexual suicides. He gets blamed for people having a divorce. He gets blamed for global warming. I do fear, and, I hear people in the media talk about Donald Trump like he's subhuman, like he's trying to wipe off people from the face of the earth, like he's Hitler. I fear some kook is going to listen to this and do something crazy.
Well, let's hope not. But Dana, when you hear Cokie Roberts talk about wink nods, dog whistles to a southern audience,
this is what I took from her. Actually, was to listen to somebody who grew up very differently than how I did, and I think that's interesting to listen to. And these young people that were there in Charlottesville probably haven't had the benefit of listening to somebody who grew up that way. I also think this goes back to a little bit like when the Scalise shooting happened, President Trump did not say, okay, Bernie Sanders, you're or the left, you're responsible for that. That's inappropriate. So personal responsibility is something conservatives believe in. So that's personal responsibility for what you do and for what you say or that you don't say. The president benefits from something no other president has had except for President Obama. And that is the ability to speak unfiltered to Americans. And so he can do that. He didn't have to take questions today, although I think he would have benefited from doing so. He said he was going to have a press conference on Friday. Probably should have done it. But he has that ability to speak unfiltered. And if he wants to show his true heart, I mean, that's one of the ways to do that.
But he didn't do that, did he, Greg? Not over social media, not over the weekend. He didn't really speak to the issue until today. And then you had Ivanka Trump, his daughter, who said very clearly in the meanwhile over social media, racism unacceptable.
I'm getting the sense, Juan, that this is a point that you're going to be hammering over and over again for the next 17 years. The intensity of the focus on this thing is unbelievable when you compare it in the context of other things that have gone on and what other presidents have done. I'm sorry, but we have to say that. It wasn't like this when President Obama took his time responding to other things. Look, if all you see is racism, when you think of Donald Trump, if all you think of racism when you think of Republicans, when all you think of racism when you think of the people that voted for Trump, your confirmation bias makes your opinion pointless.
But what if you don't
that's
think
the way
that?
You see it?
What if you don't think that?
But from what I'm gathering, when I'm watching the news, when Ana Navarro says something like he's not human, that's like irrational. There's a lot of irrational. There are rational responses to this. A rational response might be he could have done a better job. He could, maybe he should have said this. He should have said that. But remember, he gets called out for calling radical Islam, and so now they're mad that he didn't call out white racists.
I think he gets called out for calling Mexicans rapists and thieves and suggestions about Muslims.
That's an old chestnut you bring up a lot.
That's not a chestnut.
And then we have to go back and we have to explain.
Is that a real fact or is that an old
No,
fact?
that was a sloppy, it was a sloppy explanation.
Oh, yeah.
But it's always something that we have to go back and explain it to you. And
I get you.
It takes up another 5 minutes.
No, well, we don't want to confound you. We're learning more about the accused Charlottesville killer. Plus, James Alex Fields, Jr., he made his first court appearance today. Find out what happened straight ahead.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
An Alabama woman and her husband make the Dean's List for rescuing an entire family. Jessica Simmons and her husband Derek were standing on a pier off the coast of Panama City Beach, Florida, when they heard a commotion and saw people pointing to two boys who had become caught in a riptide. Noticing what was happening, the boys' mother, Roberta Ursray, and her husband, nephews, mother, and two daughters tried to swim out and rescue them. Derek explains.
At first, of course, you think that it's a shark, everybody's pointing. And when we got over there was a guy in the water saying, man, that they're all stuck out there.
That's when the couple started a human chain in an attempt to reach the family and pull them out to safety. Roberta is grateful.
Without them, we wouldn't be here because emergency personnel and everything else, they stood on the beach. They wouldn't even link up and help. It was the human chain that pulled us out of that water.
Thank you, Jessica, Derek, and your human chain of heroes. You all made the Dean's List. Janice Dean, Fox News.
This is Fox News Talk.
Headline Rewind.
1992. Today we have closed the book on apartheid, and that chapter is finally closed.
I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it and didn't inhale.
It's sad to see the community that I grew up in go up in flames like this. It really is.
Just want to say, can we all get along? Can we get along?
It doesn't help matters when primetime TV has Murphy Brown, a character who supposedly epitomizes today's intelligent, highly paid professional woman, mocking the importance of fathers by bearing a child alone.
It has been an honor and a privilege to come into your homes all these years and entertain you. I bid you a very heartfelt good night.
Dade County, as we know it, especially from the Kendall area south, is never going to be the same. It is fundamentally destroyed.
News as it happened then, news as it happens now.
This is Fox News Talk.
This is House Call for Health. If you've ever been envious of the mannequins plastered in your favorite store's windows, we've got good news for you. Researchers say the plastic models are actually too thin and promote unrealistic body ideals. The study, though small, focused on fashion retailers in 2 English cities. The body size of the male and female mannequins were assessed by research assistants using visual rating scales. On average, the female mannequin body size was equivalent to a very underweight woman, and 100% of the female mannequins represented underweight body size. The average male mannequin was significantly larger than the female mannequin, with only 8% of the males representing an underweight body size. They concluded that female mannequins used to advertise fashion are unrealistic and would be considered medically unhealthy in humans. So really, there's no need to be envious after all. For more on this story, check foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health, I'm Alex Hine, Fox News.
I'm Ashley Dvorkin with your Fox Movie Profile. Indie darlings Ethan Hawke and Sally Hawkins bring an alternative to the summer blockbuster fare with Maudie, starring as Canadian folk artist Maud Lewis and her husband Everett. Hawke spoke about perks of some indies versus big studio flicks.
Sometimes you can have the ability to tell a story that might be a little bit more unique. When there's a lot of money being spent, there's a great deal of pressure to put butts in seats.
Hawkins says this film holds a sweet message, especially when it comes to Maud overcoming circumstances of her time and her physical challenges to follow her passion.
And despite everything that she had to deal with in life and her disability and being dismissed as well, and being a woman in that time, just everything really, and yet shouldn't let it define her, knowing that there was a way out as well.
And it can also teach audiences about her art. Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Welcome back. Today, the man is suspected of killing Heather Heyer and injuring 19 others made his first court appearance and will remain in jail. Let's bring in Doug McElway. He's live in Charlottesville. He's been there and he's got all the story details. Doug.
Hi, Dana. There's a growing chorus of voices here in Charlottesville that the police did not act proactively to quell the violence in the early stages before it got out of hand. Well, late today, the police chief of the Charlottesville Police Department, Al Thomas, held a press conference in which he vehemently denied those accusations.
The early morning hours on Saturday, Virginia State Police and Charlottesville Police were positioned in and around and across the street from Emancipation Park in order to readily observe and monitor the actions of the crowds and respond as quickly as possible when emergencies arose.
But that reassurance is falling on the deaf ears of the ACLU. As we all know, they are normally aligned with leftist causes, but in this case, they took the side of the alt-right movement. They filed suit against the city's decision to try to move this protest out to a suburban park. They won that case, and so the rally was held at Emancipation Park downtown. This morning, on National Public Radio, Virginia Governor McAuliffe blasted the ACLU for, in effect, contributing to the violence by winning that court case. And today, the ACLU fired back at McAuliffe and the police in a written statement which read, quote, "The policing on Saturday was not effective in preventing violence. I was there and brought concerns directly to the Secretary of Public Safety and the head of the Virginia State Police. They did not respond. In fact, law enforcement was standing passively by, seeming to be waiting for violence to take place so that they would have grounds to declare an emergency." And of course, Dana, by declaring an emergency, they could have cleared that park out, which is precisely what they did, clear them out of the protesters and the alt-right movement. In other developments today, the suspect in this case, James Alex Fields, made his first court appearance via video from a jail. He was dressed in a black and white striped uniform. He answered, "Yes, sir," when asked if he understood the proceedings. The public defender's office was expected to represent him. But because a relative of one of the public defenders was at the wreckage scene on Saturday, they've recused himself. He'll be represented by another attorney, a second hearing coming up on August 25th. Back to you in New York.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. Kimberly, that's quite an accusation from the ACLU. But Tucker Carlson led his show talking about what happened with the police, and I guess we just have to wait to find out some answers.
Absolutely. I think it definitely warrants, an investigation, because why is it that this was allowed to escalate? They knew what they were dealing with, so you can allow these two groups to come in and fight. To me, it's acting in conscious disregard of a known risk where very likely that great bodily injury or death could occur, and in fact, that's what did. So I want to hear from the governor there, McAuliffe, and say, what did you know? Why did you allow this to continue and stand down? Shocking myself right now, but the ACLU, I think, has a very good point, because there was violence expected and they could have shut it down. Why is it that the police were told to, I guess, it looks like told or backed off, and then look what happened in the aftermath? It's very upsetting to me.
The suspect, Greg, was not granted bail. I think that sounds right.
Yeah, he killed one person, but his intent was to kill many more. And the only thing that prevented that was the car in front of him. If the car hadn't been there, there probably would have been dozens. What I find troubling always about the law is how the number of fatalities, the fewer there are, that somehow diminishes in somebody's head intent. So by pure luck and incompetence, that saves you. And I think that they should always eliminate the number of fatality and just say, this guy he wanted to kill 50 or 100 people. He got one because he was saved by a car. That should not matter. He should be treated as though he should be dead.
Yeah, let him out on bail to run somebody else over.
Yeah.
Well, we should mention, Jesse, that there are a couple of people who were injured that are actually in critical condition right now.
Wow.
That's right, and also the two police officers who died in the helicopter crash. This guy is a loser. He's a loner. He's a wannabe neo-Nazi. Now he's going to be a neo-Nazi in prison with his gang, because he's going to be in there for a very long time.
Maybe he won't be protected very much. Juan, last word?
One of the issues for the ACLU was that this park is the home of a statue of Robert E. Lee, and it previously was called Lee Park. When you hear it called Emancipation Park, that's a name change. So I think the ACLU should have been saying, you know what, we don't want this protest here at this site where ignition is so quick. So I thought that was why they should have done it.
All right, some final thoughts in just a moment.
Responding to Virginia.
What is vital now is a swift restoration of law and order.
Mike Huckabee has powerful analysis and reaction on the next Hannity. Fox News Radio's fastest growing podcast is now on Fox News Talk. It's Perino and Steyerwalt. I'll tell you what.
I'm in.
Okay.
Bring it.
Every Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern, Dana Perino, co-host of The Five, and Fox News digital political editor Chris Steyerwalt dissect the ins and outs of national politics like no one else can.
You're going to bring facts. Can you please bring back up?
I will bring back up.
Perino and Steyerwalt. I'll tell you what. Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern on Fox News Talk. There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation on the hottest stories of the day on the Fox News Radio Facebook page. Be a part of the Fox News Radio Facebook fan community. Post comment and tell us your opinions. See behind-the-scenes photos and videos and post your reactions to the stories that matter to you. Click the like button on Facebook and connect with breaking news and features like Fox in the Fast Lane, House Call for Help, and more. Go to Facebook.com/Fox News Radio. Fun and insight. Tom Shalhoub.
I would rather have more of my money going to localities than the federal government. That's my ideal government. More things being paid for by the states. For instance, I don't want a federal education policy. I want it all done locally, all of it. So that's my vision. Reversing the power from the federal to the locality as much as you can.
Tom Shalhoub, live weekdays at 3 p.m. East, noon West. Or get the podcasts anytime at TomShalhoubShow.com.
These are critical times. Our leaders are making historic decisions, and we are watching some truly unbelievable stories unfold. I'm Martha McCallum, and on The Story, we're going to take you inside the issues like no one else can. Smart, fair, and unflinching coverage. Real analysis of every hot-button topic, and nothing is off the table. That's what you'll get every night on The Story with me, Martha McCallum. Every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern, and only on Fox News Channel.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? So many people I talk to doing the tough job of running their own business, general manager of a major chain, say, I need talented men and talented women to help me out. Where do you go? You go to ZipRecruiter. You can post 100+ jobs with just one click. Then you got that powerful technology officially matching the right person to the job that you need for the right position before anyone else. No more juggling emails or calls to your office. So be screened, simply rate, manage the candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. So find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified candidates and get immediate results. It's truly amazing. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Brian. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Brian. One more time, if you want to post your job for free to get the right person for your company once and for all, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Brian. ZipRecruiter.com/Brian.
Correct.
All right, back now with continuing coverage of Charlottesville and the deadly aftermath. We're going to take it around the table with some final thoughts. I'll just begin first. First, Trump probably, if he had to do it again, probably would do a do-over and name names, because what's happening now is completely out of control. The smear merchants are also out of control. He's being unfairly maligned, but you'd have to expect that, and I understand that. And then third, I think the police and the mayor of Charlottesville do have some blood on their hands. There's dereliction of duty with what happened. There should have been a massive amount of law enforcement there on the scene, and the minute blows were exchanged, they should have come in and separated the groups instantaneously, and they have a lot of explaining to do. Let's go around, Greg.
Yeah, in some ways, I think big cities are really good at keeping. We went to 2 conventions, and no one ever saw the other side.
Right.
We were so separated that.
Remember that?
Yeah, there's this. Big cities know how to do this. Sometimes small cities that aren't experienced. The same way after when those 5 police officers were killed in Dallas. You saw an amazing coming together of the police force and the people to pay the respect to the fallen and denounce radical violence at the same time. And to make sure that these 3 individuals do not die in vain, I think that we must do the same thing here. Denounce the violence, come together, treat hateful ideas as the same way a company views an infected product. You know, it's something that you just have to be aware of and just stay away from. And that's it.
Dana Perino.
Well, there was criticism of lots of different factions here, including the media, but I do think it's worth pointing out that Cheryl Gay Stolberg was the reporter that you mentioned in the A Block. Mm-hmm. She's the New York Times reporter. She actually worked on Saturday. She was there on the ground. She was at eyes and ears. She was a witness. She got so much heat from the left. She was tweeting out her thoughts as she'd seen them, and the left got mad at her because she said the Black Lives Matter group was hate-filled, and so she backtracked. Look, I just think that we should celebrate the fact that there were journalists on the ground willing to be there and tell the story to us.
Kimberly,
Absolutely.
15 seconds.
Obviously, we denounce any kind of racism and bigotry. Our country is bigger and better than that, and let's come together.
Close it out, one.
I think it's an important moment for Republicans, because I think Republicans are very uptight about this issue of race. But I think it's important to understand this is not about someone condemning the Republican Party, but there's a part of the base that Republicans need to stand up and speak against.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And Heather Heyer, our thoughts and prayers go out to your family. Stay with us. The 5 returns.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, HomeAdvisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free HomeAdvisor app.
HomeAdvisor. All right, you've heard me talk about Super Beets. If not, you're going to want to listen to this offer. Have you heard about performance-enhancing veggies that help boost circulation, energy, and stamina? They exist, and at the top of the list are beets. They're loaded with vegetable dietary nitrates that boost nitric oxide levels in your body for more energy, for more stamina, without the crash of fake energy drinks. But I'm still not eating beets, period. That's why I'm excited about Super Beets, the delicious circulation superfood that I drink every day. You'll feel the boost of energy and stamina in as little as 20 minutes. It's guaranteed. Try the original berry or black cherry. I like them both. If you haven't tried it, now is time to do it. Only for the summer, you can try Super Beets for $5.95. Here's how. Call now and get a free box of Super Beets with 10 packets to try and feel the results, plus 2 free indicator strips that monitor the nitric oxide levels in your body. $5.95. You're going to love the results. It's all guaranteed. So call 800-541-2516. That's 800-541-2516. Or go to Bryant'sBeets.com. That's Bryant'sBeets.com. Remember, it's guaranteed or your money back.
Wake up and hear the information with the Alarm Clock feature on the Fox News Radio app. Listen to all the news and opinions you need to start your day. Download it now at foxnewsradio.com. Already have it? Then spread the word. Fox News Talk programming will return shortly. Fair and balanced news at the top and bottom of every hour, and opinions on today's trending stories by your favorite talk hosts. This is Fox News Talk on foxnewsradio.com. Fox News Talk programming will return shortly.
Welcome back to The Five. We want to extend our condolences to the families of the victims killed in Charlottesville. We wish all of those who are injured a very speedy recovery. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. Continuing coverage and analysis of the attack on Hannity up next.
The names you know, the people you trust. News and opinion all in one place. This is FoxNewsTalk.com.
They can breathe a little easier on Guam. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We're happy that the rhetoric is starting to calm down, perhaps, from Kim Jong-un.
Ray Tenorio is the U.S. territory's lieutenant governor, reacting to North Korea appearing to back off a threat to Guam. Fox's Simon Owen has more live.
Dave, North Korean state TV saying leader Kim Jong-un has now been briefed on a plan to fire missiles in the direction of Guam as promised last week. But a newsreader saying Kim has decided to watch and wait before issuing any order, quoting the leader as saying if the Americans persist with their dangerous and reckless actions, North Korea will strike. The broadcast insists the option is still on the table, but some analysts see Kim's move as a potential opportunity to lower tensions. Dave?
Simon, President Trump woke up in his New York home for the first time since taking office. The thousands protested his return last night, also chanting, New York hates you, and shame, shame. The president has condemned the KKK and neo-Nazis, but critics say he should have done that right after the deadly Charlottesville violence. There will be more tears later this morning in Charlottesville, Virginia, where Fox's Evan Brown is live.
Dave, a memorial service for Heather Hare, the woman killed in Saturday's vehicle attack here, is scheduled for 11 a.m. at Charlottesville's Paramount Theater. It's in the city's downtown pedestrian mall, just some short blocks from the scene where Hare was killed. That scene is now a memorial site where people have been leaving flowers. While things have been rather peaceful in the past day here, we've seen angered crowds pop up in other cities like Durham, North Carolina, where protesters tore down a statue at a Confederate soldier memorial, Dave.
And the polls are just opening now across Alabama for a Republican Senate primary.
What I want to get done is common sense, conservative solutions to the problems that actually affect people in their real lives.
Incumbent Luther Strange has President Trump's support. He's facing former Judge Roy Moore and Congressman Mo Brooks. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Thanks for being part of Fox News Talk here on FoxNewsRadio.com. Fox News Talk programming will return shortly.
In addition to Alabama's primary, voters will also be going to the polls in Utah later today.
The mayor of Provo, John Curtis, has led in polling for Utah's 3rd congressional district primary race. According to the UtahPolicy.com poll, 31% of voters are voting for him or already have. Behind him is state lawmaker Chris Herrod, and behind him is Tanner Ainge. Ainge is the son of Boston Celtics general manager Danny Ainge. Herrod and Ainge have spent a lot of time attacking Curtis and his conservative credentials, especially since Curtis once led the Utah County Democratic Party. He also has freely admitted that he did not vote for any candidate in the presidential election, though supporting the Republican president isn't as key here. While Donald Trump won the district, he won it by less than any other recent Republican candidate. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
A victory in court for Taylor Swift. A jury in Denver rules a DJ did grope the singer at a photo shoot 3 years ago.
It takes people like Taylor, wonderful people like Taylor, who we all know, to stand up and draw these lines.
Her attorney, Douglas Baldridge, the DJ, David Mueller, denied Swift's allegation and sued her for $3 million, claiming she got him fired. Swift countersued, and the jury awarded her a symbolic $1 she sought. Something real and deadly on the set of a movie.
A female stunt driver was killed on the set of Deadpool 2 in a motorcycle crash. Law enforcement in the hometown of star Ryan Reynolds posted the news on social media Monday morning. Vancouver police writing a stunt driver has died on the set of Deadpool during a stunt on a motorcycle. Deadline reporting the female stunt driver was a motocross expert who was doing her first film as a stunt performer. This marks the second time a stunt person from North America has been killed. Stuntman John Berniker died last month after falling headfirst from a balcony on the set of The Walking Dead. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are rising. The day after the Dow went up 135 points and the NASDAQ gained 84. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Assuming you saw the television over the weekend, the screaming, the craziness, the lunatic hell-bent on murdering an entire crowd of people with his car. Everything about what happened in Charlottesville over the weekend was awful. Maybe the worst part was the feeling you got as you watched it, that things were completely out of control. This is what chaos looks like. One man swinging a Confederate flag like a club, his opponent trying to burn him with a homemade flamethrower. All of this happening on a city street at midday and no one trying to stop them. What country was this? Where were the authorities? What happened to the police? Is this America? Our colleague Doug McKelway was there in Charlottesville on Sunday, and he had that same question.
When the tear gas started to fly, thrown by protesters, the police themselves began to evacuate that. I asked the guy who was in charge, I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "We're leaving." It's too dangerous. They had an opportunity to nip this thing in the bud, and they chose not to.
Multiple videos show marchers, counter-marchers, and members of the press being beaten with cops nowhere to be seen. One video shows law enforcement herding a group of white nationalists directly toward a knot of left-wing counter-protesters with predictable results. None of this seemed to bother elected officials in the state. Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe said this morning that cops there did, quote, a magnificent job. The over-his-head mayor of Charlottesville agreed with that. Unfortunately, there is a long history in this country of politicians, for whatever reason, preventing the police from doing their jobs in times of crisis. Way back in 1991, New York Mayor David Dinkins let the Crown Heights riots rage for 3 days before allowing police to restore order there. You've seen similar scenes recently in Ferguson, in Baltimore, Berkeley. Police stood aside while demonstrations turned into riots. And now in Charlottesville, a woman died after authorities allowed chaos to spread. Political violence is a virus. Once it flares up in one place, it is likely to spread elsewhere. Cowardly politicians are not just hurting their own communities when they allow this, they're putting the rest of us, our country, at risk. Dan Bongino once served on the NYPD and in the Secret Service, and he joins us tonight. Dan, what I find so striking about what happened in Charlottesville is there's really no debate about it. This is not something that the right is saying or the left is saying. They're both saying it. The ACLU is saying it. The marchers with the Confederate flags are saying it. The police stood by and allowed violence to accelerate. Why would they do that?
Yeah, Tucker, it's perplexing. And I think the reason you're seeing this kind of ideological unity on both sides of the aisle is because, let's be honest, free speech is meaningless if some people take free speech to mean I'm free to punch you in the face as you're speaking. That's not free speech, okay? That's just straight up hardcore criminality and violence. Why is this phenomenon of the Stephanie Rawlings Blake, the mayor of Baltimore, and her give them space to destroy phenomenon happening? I have no good answer other than let them vent theory. Is it one of these psychobabble theories that if you let people go out there and they're going to just get tired of breaking stuff or punching people after a while? I have no good explanation because there isn't one. This is pure, unadulterated idiocy. And one thing on this, Tucker, to be clear about this, this is not the rank and file cops. I think you and I both know that. The cops know exactly how to do their job. This is politicians and police managers beholden to politicians who have made these awful decisions to let them vent or, quote, give them space to destroy, as was said in Baltimore.
It's such a betrayal of the rest of us. I mean, we obviously, through our tax dollars, support law enforcement, but we also give them enormous latitude, a ton of power. We let them carry guns in public and use them, all in the belief that when it comes down to it, they will maintain order and protect us. And so I just wonder, where's the, and I believe you, that the police they're for order, they're against this, but where's the police union standing up to these politicians and saying, you know, we need to be allowed to do our jobs?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And this is what's really disturbing is this isn't an isolated incident. We've seen this repeatedly. Right. We saw it in Chicago at anti-Trump rallies. Like you said, Baltimore. We saw it in Ferguson. And another thing about this, why this is so dangerous, this stand down mentality from politicians or let them vent mentality. Tucker, social media has changed everything when it comes to these riots and these Antifa people and these white nationalists, or whatever they are, these Nazi sympathizers. It has changed everything. It has made it so easy to coordinate a group of people dedicated to one thing and one thing only, violence. You know, 30, 40 years ago, if Walter Cronkite didn't talk about it on the evening news, nobody knew about it. Right now, you get a guy, a fringe operator with 100,000 Twitter followers who puts out, meet me on the corner of 47th and Myrtle, and we're just going to go beat the snot out of some Antifa people, or vice versa. An Antifa person says that. Next thing you know, you got a full-scale riot on your hands. It's a new era for policing, and politicians and managers better get it through their heads, or you're going to see more of this.
Well, I think you already have it. I think later in the show, I think we have video, someone just sent it to me, of a statue being pulled down, some kind of Confederate War Memorial, and I think it's in Durham, North Carolina, and you watch as this group of people, I think it just happened, gather around this, attach a strap to the head of the statue and pull it down. Now, I'm sure it'll be applauded by the left. They don't like these statues. That's fine. Well, there it is right there. Watch this. I think this just happened, okay? There it is. Now, I'm not exactly sure where this is, but it's clearly a public space. There are no police to be seen. And my question is, if a crowd of people with strong political views can destroy a statue, why can't they set your house on fire? I mean, in other words, why doesn't this stuff accelerate into something really dangerous? Why wouldn't it?
Well, that's a great question. And Tucker, it almost happened on Berkeley, on the Berkeley campus, where they literally almost set the building on fire. You know what needs to happen here? You need to go back to the old Rudy Giuliani approach after Crown Heights. You mentioned the David Dinkins era before with the Crown Heights riots. I remember that. I was a cop in the Giuliani era. And the Giuliani theorem was, you throw a bottle, you're going to jail. The guy behind you throws a bottle, he goes to jail too. Nobody gets a free pass. And you know what happens? People learn really quickly that that's not going to go down that way in New York. You go to New York, you have the absolute right to free speech and protest. You have absolutely no right, though, as well, to launch a bottle, to rip down a statue, to burn someone's house down, or to beat the snot out of someone at a rally. And that has to be some kind of national police effort on behalf of police management and politicians to set that new standard. That no more with this. I'm a free speech absolutist on this, but free speech does not include physical assault and the throwing of objects at people. Absolutely not.
Of course. And if you're a politician, if you're the mayor of a city, spare me your political lectures. Your first job is to keep your city orderly and safe. And if you can't do that, get off the stage. Dan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You got it.
For more reaction to what happened over the weekend, we're joined now by White House aide Omarosa Newman. Omarosa, thanks a lot for coming on tonight.
Hey there,
the president was roundly attacked by a lot of Republicans, too, for